Okay, we're going to be learning Maamar from Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, I believe, of that year of Tavshin Tesvav of 1955, on the part of David Hashem Oiri, the Pasuk Achas Royalty. Let's bring up the original text. Bit of an easier Maamar than the last one we learned. Let's make sure it's working on the YouTube. Okay. So it says like this. Achas Ra'alti Meis Hashem, Pasuk says, Shifti Beis Hashem kol mechai lachsois b'noim Hashem levark b'cholei. So David HaMelech says, Achas Ra'alti, I have one quest from Hashem. That Shifti Beis Hashem, I should sit in Hashem's home, kol mechai lachsois b'noim Hashem levark b'cholei. I should be able to take in the noim, the sweetness of Hashem, to be in the heichel. So we learned this Maamar before in the Likutei Torah. This Maamar is based on the Likutei Torah Maamar. It's actually at the end of Bamidbar. V'isa b'medrash v'yalkut. It's brought down the medrash. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu David. So Hashem says to David, "B'tchila ata oimer achas ra'alti." Initially, you say, "I only have one request: shifti v'eis Hashem. I just want to be in the house of God." V'achakach, and then afterwards, ata shoel kama she'elos. You ask many questions. You add to that. So is it achas or not? Lachsis b'noim levark b'cholei. So v'heishiv David. So David answers. King David answers Hashem. He says, "Mimcha lemadati. I learned from you." Why? What does that mean? B'tchila lo basa elai el v'achas. First, you come to us with only one request, like it says, "Shnemar v'ata Yisrael ma havaya lekecha sha'el mimachim lira." That Hashem is only asking for our fear. And then Hashem continues in the pasuk. Pasuk aleinu b'mitzvahs harbe. There's many mitzvahs. Like it says, the lechas b'chol derachav l'davka ba. You should walk in his ways, cleave to him. So it says initially all you want is fear. So to me, I said achas shral. They only have one request, and then I added that lachsas b'neim Hashem levarka b'cholei. So it says, V'isa b'Likutei Torah, and the Likutei Torah Sefer Bamidbar at the end of the book of Bamidbar says, Sh'omer harav Magid, the Magid, meaning the teacher of the Alter Rebbe, the Magid, the Mizrich says, so what's the answer? So it means David says to God, Achas ra'alti, and then he adds things, and he says, you said one, and you add a whole list of things. So he says, Mimcha lemadti, I learned from you. So what's Takab Shat, though? So the Rav Magid says, why does he only ask one thing? That David only asks really one thing. Those additional things are all an outcome of the achas ra'alti. So David's only asking one thing. And when you have that one thing, you automatically have the other things. That these things are necessity in order for there to be the achas ra'alti. And therefore it's only really one thing. The details are just make up the cloud. The prat makes up the cloud. The details make up the general rule. So David only has to ask one thing. Achas ra'alti, shifti b'veis Hashem, to be in the house of Hashem. Now automatically in that is included all the other things that he adds in the tefillah, but it's really one thing, it's just an outcome. And on that, the Rebbe is asking, which is also the question of the Alter Rebbe in the Likutei Torah, we have to understand. If that's the case, why does he have to answer, I learned from you? He could have just said, I really only asked one thing. I only asked one thing. If he only asked one thing, so he should have said that to Hashem, I only asked one thing, achas ra'alti. Why does he have to say, I learned from you? Okay, and so therefore we have to say, the be'emes yesh b'zeh kama pratim. At the end of the day, there are details, which are the details that David asks in the tefillah. Lachsois b'nayim Hashem levarka b'cholei. Ele shekol pratim eluhim nichlodem b'haklal d'shifti b'veis Hashem. They are pratim, but the pratim meaning to say is that if you can, the way the Alter Rebbe initially answers, or the Magid answers, is that David's only asking one thing. And the things that he asks, the outcome from those things is going to come with it other things. So the Alter Rebbe answers, and here the Rebbe is bringing down the answer of the Alter Rebbe, that actually he's asking a lot of things. However, to be emes yesh b'zakam pratim are details, but all the details have within it the component of the achashvalti. And the Rebbe is going to explain in this Maamar what that means. And that's why he has to say because it's similar to Hashem. When Hashem says, all I'm asking for is yira, fear. There are many details. When Hashem says that all I'm asking for you is for you to fear me, and then he lists off a list of things. So the answer is really that there are details, but those details are infused, so to say, with the liyiras Hashem, to fear Hashem. Therefore, David says, I learned it from you. The same thing as Achashalti. Because all I really want in the general focus is to sit in the house of Hashem. There has to be these details. But the details are a request. You have to, means the difference between the Maggid is asking, but the Maggid answers, and the Alter Rebbe explains on the Maggid is that's not just that it happens automatically. You have to focus on those details. But you have to infuse those details with the Achas Reality. And that's why he's really asking one thing. And the details are, the idea is to infuse the detail, each detail of with the idea of Achas Reality. All they ask is one thing. Now here the Rebbe adds to that. If David HaMelech is saying that, where does he know? Where does he get the idea that you could ask for one thing, starting off, and then list off a list of details, seemingly that are separate ideas, because what you're trying to do is infuse them with that single idea of the Yiras Hashem, of fear of God. But because David learns it from the Torah, from the pasuk, from what Hashem says, it's not a logical. Means he didn't make a logical argument. He used the Torah as an argument, so to say, that connecting the two ideas. So here the Rebbe says, it's not that we're learning that there's a concept that you could start off asking one thing and then list a list of things to say that these are how I want to infuse this one idea into these details. But the fact that we have it a limit in Torah based Dvarim of Dalim, seemingly from two different things. One is David HaMelech's quest that all he is asking on behalf of Klal Yisrael is Achas Shalti, is Shifti Beis Hashem. All I want to do is sit in the house of God. But the fact that it's a limit in Torah, they have to say, and seemingly there is no connection. You have to know that nothing in Torah happens by chance. And if two things are connected, even to teach us that from one klal, one general quest, comes pratim, and the idea is to bring the klal into the prat. We have to say that David didn't just learn that you could ask one thing and add things, but the thing that Hashem asks us of Kim Li Yira, all God is asking is for Yira. And then he lists off things. That's where David understood how to ask Achashvald. What does that mean, though? What is the connection? David's quest is saying, all I want is to be in the house of God. To God's quest to us, all I want is to fear me. And how do we see the outcome, the details that come in order to actualize the achashalti, or the year of the fear? So the Rebbe says this. Again, we have to remember we're learning a non-edited Maamar. Means it wasn't officially Muga edited by the Rebbe. It's said on Shabbos, Pashas, and somebody else. We don't even have a recording of this from Tavshin Tesvav 1954. 1955. L'havin zeh, to understand this, tzarech lagdim tchila. You have to first understand what's brought down in Shiur Hashirim that says shoykov emudei sheish. So to say, the God's thighs are pillars of marble. Amr Razal, our rabbis of Tanas. Shaykov zeha oilam shnishtoikik hakadosh baruch livraisei. From the word shaykik, which could mean the thighs, also is nishtoikik, means a desire. This is referring to the world that God desired to create. Amudei sheish, what does it mean that these are pillars of marble? Sheish also the shisha yom that was created, shnivra the shisha yom that was created in 6 days. This that it says that the idea of that the thighs, so to say, it means that say that this is the desire from the word chuka, desire Hashem has of creation. We can understand this based on Maamar what our rabbis have taught us. God had a desire to have a creation. There's a desire, a taiva. At the end of the day, we don't understand why. Why did God need or want to create the world? But what we do know, this is what he desired. Like a person says, I want, this is what I desire. Why don't we know? Not because it's a reason that we're not told. Hashem has a reason, and he's not telling us the reason. Because tshuka, when you have a desire for something, means it comes from a place that's beyond logic, beyond time, beyond reason. There's no even reason above, so to say, in heaven. Our rabbis have taught us. When Hashem decided, when he had this desire, and he considered it, so to say, lahavdil, with who did he take consolation with? With the souls of the righteous. Like the Rebbe always points out, all the Jewish people. Who did he console about the idea of creation? With the souls of the Jewish people. And based on this idea, that Hashem, so to say, consoled with the Jewish people means that the idea of Yisrael, the neshamas of Yisrael, existed before creation. It means he's having a consolation if there should be creation. It's also one of the bases, the idea that neshamas Yisrael, the souls of the Jewish people, come even before Torah. When the proof is because it says Daber Bnei Yisrael. Torah talks about Bnei Yisrael, means these Bnei Yisrael existed before. And when there was the decision that this is, so to say, lahavdil, a good idea, so there was a decision to make a creation. Because, so what's the idea? Why does he have to console with the neshamas? Not that God needs an outside opinion. But what was the type? The type wasn't just to create. What was the desire Hashem had? It wasn't just to create the world. The desire was that Hashem should create a world and should have a direi. That should be his home. How does Hashem make the physical space of the world a home for God? It's the Jewish people's job to make this dira. So therefore, God has to, so to say, is consoling with the people, with the souls that are the ones that are charged with this mission to fulfill God's desire to make this world into desired a place for a home for God, and therefore He consoles with them based on their, so to say, the agreement of the neshamas Yisrael that there should be creation. Therefore, there's a creation. This is the whole point of why a soul comes down to this world. To actualize the desire that God has in creation, which means to light up the darkness of the world. Like it says, Ner Havai, what is the light of God? Is Nishmas Adam, the soul of man, who brings that light by being in this world, in doing avodah, not just by existing in this world. By doing avodah, we create that this should be, that the God's light should come down to the world. What does it mean, Ner Havai Nishmas Adam, the light of God, or the flame of, or the fire, the candle of God, so to say, is soul of man. That they give, that the soul of man, meaning the neshamas Yisrael, the souls of the Jewish people, they light up the world with godliness. By doing that, they make a dir leisbarach, a resting place for Hashem in this world. The idea is, meaning, how does the process go? If Hashem can Hashem not have created a world that should be a finished product, so to say, as like, people create a home and it's, as if it's livable. They have the staged homes. You have the home with the furniture, the clothing, with the books, as if it's but no one's living there. It's a staged home. So God could have created a staged home, but He wanted to do a real home. And a real home means that there's with all the complications, and you have to create the dwelling place for Hashem. So he says the idea is this world that God desired, that there should be a revelation of His, that this should be His home, means that the world by definition is a place of helam, of concealment, and hester, and closeness behind him. Meaning, because in general, creation of the worlds, and specifically our world, the physical world, meaning to say there's many levels of world, right? We have, first of all, the four basic worlds of Atzilus Bria Yitzira Asiya. Atzilus is the world of emanation, the world of creation, the world of formation, the world of action. In the world of action, there's the actual world of the physical world. So there's many worlds, and specifically says our world. And it's just the creation of the worlds in our physical world. It has to be a concealment. The purpose of creation is that godliness is not found, it's not obvious. If there's obvious godliness, then they're going to be bottled. They don't exist because everything there is no. This is what Avram Avinu was telling everyone. What did we learn in the last Maamar? Kel ha'olam and kel olam. There's God of the world, and God is the world. Kel ha'olam means there's a world, and God is the Lord of the world. Kel olam means God and the world is one. There's no separation, but that has to be revealed because on its own it's not obvious. Because there's a helam, because there's a concealment. The word olam means concealment. How does this go about? How does it happen that there is? The reason we're learning this Maamar is because it's more. This is a verse that says in the David Hashem Ori that we say in Elul, and the Rebbe is going to explain this Maamar into the concept of Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, specifically Rosh Hashanah, because the idea of Rosh Hashanah is that we build Binyan HaMalchus, the idea of creation. So it says, how do we create the world that should be in such a way that there's Helim is from the sphere of Malchus, the attribute of kingship, which by kingship, the definition of kingship is there's two parts of the king. There's Shu'inin Haroimim was V'hisnasos. There's the idea of elevation. A king is lifted up, Rumam, and Misnase, elevated from the people, but nevertheless provides. And that separation of king, he's not a shliach, a messenger for the people. He's different. He's separate from people. He's like it says, he has to be head and shoulders above the people. So there's a haroimim was visnasis. It means he's withdrawn with himself, and in that, lifted up is also the concealment of the essence of God. And then at the same time, there's the giving, which is the creation. That because the king only exposes and shows the part that's needed to be king, and by definition, there has to be a roimim, a disconnect between the king and his subjects. So therefore, the panemius, the inner components, wants, character, all levels of panemius is concealed from the people. The only that comes down is a ray of the manifestation of Hashem. And therefore, that's the beginning process of separation. In the idea of Malchus, we know has the component which is called Yam. What is Yam? What is Yam? Yam is the ocean. What's the ocean? The ocean is that you look at the ocean from on top, you just see water. Single color. Underneath is all this stuff that's being concealed. That's the part that's Roimimus. That's the king with the parts that are being hidden. And then there's the Aretz, there's the earth. Yam, who Knesses Yisrael. There's the part, what's part of the Yam, the hidden, the sea, is the gathering of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are charged with their inner core that is called the elevated level of Yisrael, which is beyond creation. Which is in the level of Zer Ampen, of the small complexion, meaning to say the end of the world of infinite is the seven emotions, and that's Zer Ampen, the small complexion, which is up to Yisoid, the seven emotions of Chesed through Yisoid, the six Midos. That's all concealed, and all that's given over is the Malchus, is what's given out from the concealment. And like a sea covers over what's under the sea, under the water, so too Malchus takes in all the character of Zer Ampen, the small complexion, it covers. And what it gives out is a specific designed light without showing its source. Just like the sea blocks conceals what's inside it. And because there is that separation and concealment, there could be land, which is ha'or bilvad. There's only a ray of everything that's going on inside. And how does the world of creation come about? By concealment. So just like the world of creation starts with a concealment, so too in general, the whole system of creation. Meaning to say, what is he saying? So too is the Seder Shtashlis. Meaning to say, there is in the worlds itself how they evolve. The world of Atzilus is absolute godliness, and from there comes the world of Bria. Like even in the souls, we say in the Shamash Nesate Bi Tahira B, that's talking about B is the world of Bria, and the Neshama is from the world of Atzilus. So it's Tahira. But that even in the whole system of creation, it's the same principle. That there's the separation of what's the pneumius and what's being and how it's coming, how it's being expressed in the creation. So from the beginning of say the Hishtalshalas, Shabbai they held with Tzimtzum Rishon, started from the first Tzimtzum, the contraction. Shubiderech Silak, which means to take away any absolute godliness, that should not be revealed. So to say, the Orein, so if the infinite light, that the initial manifestation, who in general, that's that the Koidim Brias Olam is before the world was created. We say Hu Shmoi Levad. Shmoi is a name. Name is also a manifestation, it's not the essence, but it's a manifestation of the essence of the. It's a manifestation of the essence, and then what we call Orein Saif, the infinite light. So you have the infinite light. That light itself is concealed before creation. Like it says, and then comes down what's called a defined, like a line, so to say. It's only a manifestation of Shemai, of the Orein, so it's an infinite light. Like it says, but Orcha, and the light that's given out, neither are I see light, but it's only we see light from the light. When we say Orcha, your light, that is the shame, that's the name, so to say, that's the light before the tzimtzum of the infinite light. And from there we can see the light that comes into creation and allows for creation and creates. Okay, he's got this more Kabbalistic ideas of Chassidus that explains, and this, where does this end? This light of the initial contraction, the initial tzimtzum, goes all the way to Machas Tatzilus, and then there's another contraction between the world of Atzilus and the world of Bria, because even the world of Atzilus is godliness, although it's a godliness in a much more defined, the fact that there's midos, that there's attributes, there's definition, that's still considered much more defined, they're separate, so to say, than the essence of Hashem, even the infinite light, the Orein Saif. And then from there goes the world of Bria, which is Mamash, the world of creation. So they have the world of Atzilus and the world of Bria. Like we talked last time, you have the world of the tribes, the Shvatim. They only reach to Malchus of Atzilus, or the end, or the highest point of Bria, of creation. And you have Yosef Tzaddik, that is Yisoid, that is the attributes, the way they are in the world of Atzilus. And he has a high, and the difference in, if it's in the world of Atzilus and the world of Bria, is the level of Bittul. So the nullification of creation. The nullification of creation in the world of Bria is separate. All you could do is submit your want for Hashem, but you feel yourself separate. In the world of Atzilus, it's absolute godliness, Bittul b'Metzius. You don't feel like you're anything. Although there is a definition, still it's not Ein Sof, it's not the infinite light. What comes into the world of creation is even external of that kav, of that line that comes in to create the world of Atzilus. Meaning to say is what we're trying to describe over here is the creation and the process of the separation. And so one would ask, why couldn't God just make a 100% vacuum from, so to say, infinite light to the world of Asiya? Because he wanted that there should be the process. The process is slowly climbing up the ladder of that Seder Shtalshus to the, so to say, the top of the world of Bria, and then he tried to cross into the world of Atzilus. Like Yosef says, take your bundles, gather everything together, and then bow down to Yosef's bushel of wheat, which is to go from Bria to Atzilus. But the end idea of it is what he said, like the Rebbe is explaining this Maamar, the Soif Maisa, Machshava, what did God really want is that to find the most distant place and try to reveal the essence in that most distant place. And that's the Dir B'Tachtonim. And that's what Hashem asked the Neshamas Yisrael to do. That's our job. So he says, let's just finish this paragraph and we'll continue the Maamar, I believe, on tomorrow or Wednesday. What comes into the world of creation is only a ray of the manifestation that's in the world of Atzilus. It has to be itself. It doesn't just come into the next world. It has to go through screening. Through the screens, the light changes. What does it mean the light changes? The attributes themselves, what we define as what's kind, changes. We learned in the Maamar, I believe, that the Alter Rebbe says about Avram Avinu. He says, "V'anechi Afer v'Efer." Avram Avinu is the attribute of Chesed, So he says, I'm like dust and dirt. What does that mean? I'm like dust and dirt. That Avram's chesed, the way he understands it, is so different than the chesed in the world of Atzilus. Is like, just like we say that there's, so to say, there's a tree, and a tree has in it the four components of Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Afer, which is there's the component, everything that's created has fire, water, wind, and earth. And the so to say, the koach hayildi, the programming of, so to say, of how much of everything has the shape of what it is, whether it's a stone, a rock, a tree, etc. Everything is made up of Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Afer, of fire, water, wind, and earth. And they're different components, and how they're made up is what the end result is. But if let's say you burn a tree, so the tree, that big, huge tree that had a whole form burns, meaning to say that the fire, water, and wind leave. So it's all you have is the earth, and the earth has no form now. It's like dust. So if you were to compare a standing tree with the dust and the ash, that's the one component of the four left, and say this is the tree, but this is the tree without any form because it's missing its shape. That's what Avram Avinu says. I'm like earth to the chesed of Atzilus. That's how the different. That's how these parses, these contractions change. So what if you would compare kindness of the world of Atzilus to a beautiful tree, and then the world of Bria, you would say this is considered like earth. It's the same thing. It's a tree. If you were to re-infuse it with the other three components, it could be back a tree. But right now, the way you look at it, this is just the ash of that tree. So it says, that's what means it changes the light. Like Avram says that I'm dust compared to the tree. Mitzad his almus ha'or and as the light changes, it allows for the change of creation to this physical world. And when we look at this physical world, we can have a world that we don't see godliness. And that's the whole point. So in this world that's been created, the soul has to come down. Turn on the lights, light up this entity that's called the world to show the same essence of God in the world. There's nothing else but God in the world. And why do we have the power to do that? Because our souls come from the world of Atzilus, that's before the world of Bria, of creation, and we're able to light up the obvious, that we could reach the level of the Bittul Yesh, of total nullification of ourself, to the nullification of our Metzias, of our existence. Like it says, Neshama Shnasata Bi Tahiri, the soul that you've given to me in the world of Bria, Bi is me, is Tahira, means from the world of Atzilus. It's not just any part of Atzilus. It's from the inner part of the vessel. I mean, say the inner part of the vessel is what's really there. It's not a component of the vessel. It is the essence of what's the vessel, the core of the vessel. It's the innermost depth of the light. Therefore, the soul of the Jewish people are actually godliness. And even if it goes into our form, our body, we're unlike any other creation, human or anything else. That they're absolute separateness. There's the soul of the Yid is actually godliness. If we have the ability to see and understand godliness on a different level. And even in the way we are in this world, we have the ability to see and to understand godliness and to reveal godliness into this world. And the point is not that this godly soul itself should understand, but the godly soul should understand as it's connected to its animal soul. That's what it means to light up your body, your animal soul. Like it says, the idea is to love God, not just with your godly heart, but both your hearts, that the animal within you, the material within you, loves godliness. And eventually, through transforming and revealing the core of your body and animal soul, then you could elevate and bring that godliness in your place of influence, the places that everyone is given by Hashem as a responsibility. That's your job to light up. All right, everyone, we'll continue the Maamar Be'ezus Hashem next class. Thank you for joining.